Make sure your treasure is buried, your parrot fed, and the rum is poured. It's time to set sail on another Patches and Rum podcast, exclusively for members of the History of Pirates channel.
Well, look at us.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Oh, look at us. We can't even start the show without shouting out, holy crap. That Raging Cajun just said, I think he made a mistake. I think he meant to put 5. Might have had a little too much grog.
His wife is slapping him right now.
You know?
Cheers, Raging Cajun.
Cheers. I got my big freaking... Look at that.
I have mine too. There's nothing in it.
Kings has
need one of those.
Mm.
Hit my hat.
Well, we'll cheer you now, but...
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
Can't believe it. 50! If you got a membership from Raging Cajun, please tell them thank you. Just remember, you now have exclusive emojis for our members, and you can watch all the other podcasts, which is getting massive review. One of our podcasts hit 80,000 views on Rumble. 80. I wonder if if I just left them live, how they would do. But no, they go to members. Captain Rex says, I'm as nerdy for this movie book series as Star Wars, LOL. Well, that's pretty awesome, man. Cajun Corey also gifted a membership.
51.
Sarah from across the pond says, ahoy. That's on a Brit for you. She has her HP sauce, and I don't know what else they do over there.
HP.
We could steal for 5. Arg, ahoy, me mateys. Welcome back to all the crew. Now get back to work. Yeah, this is
you gotta
for
say
you,
it with
Raging.
your chest. Now
Get back to work.
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
Last time we were live, we set a record at, what was it? I think it was 3:15. We're watching this podcast at one time. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. And now we're already, before we even started, we got 114 people. And we're joined by our Sea Hag Queen, Wicked Virtue, who just watched Master and Commander for the first time last week.
Friday, yeah. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. I know it's more of a man's movie, but it made me very emotional. There's a lot of sad parts.
As it should.
It's very real, yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have, we're joined by our Commodore Stash, who, that just gets bigger and bigger. I swear, his head gets smaller and smaller, and I don't know what's going on. He's rocking the earring today.
I don't know what all these people are doing just sitting here watching. Get back to work.
We got to point out the Commodore put on his puffy shirt for this special live stream.
I'm feeling dangerous.
He's showing some skin.
I'm feeling dangerous. I'm feeling lovely today. Not a hair on his chest.
That's how you get a disease. That's what I'm saying.
Well, he does have cooties, so.
Oh my gosh.
And our man-at-arms, King's Advisors, sweating over there. Had some camera issues, but he's doing okay. He started off the show as a big blurry mess, but look at it. Look, he cleans up well. Cleans up well. Lord Botha for 5. What's up, doo-doo heads? I've been hanging with my toddler all day. How are you? How are you guys?
Well, that would explain the doo-doo head thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
How are you guys? How's everybody doing? Is X-Wing okay? We had a rough Sunday, but 49ers fan. Nah, back to Pirates, man.
Yeah.
Back to Pirates. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have before we begin the 100 people over here, I've got a special treat. I've got a little taste of what's to come. And as far as people keep asking, Jay, when's the pirate book drop? And it is in the works, man. And not only is the book in the works, there is so many other things that are coming together with this. But we got just a little taste of what's to come. So sit back and enjoy.
Open fire! Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Sometime this year. Look at everyone in the chat. Yeah, it's called The Daughter's Revenge.
Mm-hmm. Man,
I hope you guys are excited. Oh my gosh. I mean, a lot of things are coming together for this project. So Achromatic Chronicles Green and then The Daughter's Revenge is next. You're going to love this graphic novel series that we have been working on for a long time. It's finally like we're right there, man. We're like right there. So I hope you guys enjoy it and be hyped for it in the next few months as we keep dropping little teasers here and there, and then we launch this thing. So
I've watched that like 787 times. And it still just gets me going every single time.
It's gonna be pretty awesome. And the generosity just doesn't stop. Ag Marner, WK for 199. Hail to the #1 pirate channel. I know I did it on purpose. Lord Botha becomes a member, and then he gifts 5 memberships to the channel. We got all these man. We need a bigger boat. Cheers to you, my friend.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work. Chin chin.
And just like that, I mean, before we can even continue, America's 2001.
America's.
Holy crap! Gifted 5. Oh my gosh! Clyde says I'm in on this too. Gifted 5. Standard Math says hail to the crew. That's like what? We almost got 100 members
already.
Cheers to you, Americas and Clyde. Thanks for joining the shit.
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
And with all these people here, that deck better be shining bright. That's all I gotta say.
Ship shape.
It better be shining bright.
The Commodore is watching.
Goodness gracious, what is going on here? Celluloid Dream says I will not get to work. Mutiny.
Ooh.
That's a Master of Arms issue. I don't know.
15 lashes. 15 lashes.
Through the gauntlet.
10 more men.
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
See Dan Vask in our chat, almost at 1 million subscribers, hanging out with us pirates today.
I can't drink anymore. I've already got to use the head.
Well, now would be the time.
Yeah.
Well,
If you need to go. Thank you
Awkward.
guys. Holy crap. 10. Let's see. What do we got? 10, 20, 25 plus 50. That's 75, 76 new members. Man, that's unbelievable. You guys are unbelievable.
I need
Thank you so
100
much for
souls.
hanging out with us. I say this 1,000,000 times. I didn't think this channel was just made for just to have some fun, to get away from the craziness of this world and the pop culture boring cesspool that it is.
Jay.
Here we are. And today is no different
Jay.
because
Jay.
yes.
Don't forget our agreement. I said 100 souls.
All right, well, I need 24 new members. Any help out there? Dan Vask, you're rich. 24. It's not even $5 to be a member here, so it's a little cheaper. But
Always
Mountain
yeah, but
Must
that's
is
like
good evening.
1,000 Brazilian dollars.
It's true. Yeah, you might not be able to eat for a few hours. Good evening to my favorite crew. Still swabbing. Yeah, Mutt. Keep. See this, the back here by the barrels is smells like urine. All right.
Sorry.
Okay, well, Commodore did that.
I was going to blame the Commodore.
Yeah. Paul says ahoy. Grab a holy stone and get to work. Is that what they were called?
Get on your knees and scrub. Pray to my dick.
Captain Wrecked for 5. The press gang is hard at work. Now get the likes to 500 and maybe Jay will grow his hair out like that pirate pig. Lady Marine made him do it. Man, the problem is my hair don't grow long like Wicked's. It grows out like Richard Simmons. So,
call him Jay the Jerry Curl.
It'd be a very weird pirate look. The white fro. I mean, I'm just saying. It'd be very weird. Oh, look at that.
Holy.
Aw, Dan.
You didn't have
Dan
to do that,
Vask.
Dan. Is that real money, though?
What do you think?
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
Cheers, Dan. I don't have anything in
Inching
this
ever
cup.
closer.
It's my good one. My big grog cup.
Yeah. I got stuff in mind.
Turn it around. You're holding it the wrong way.
I'm holding it the wrong way.
Don't
Oh,
hurt
spill it.
yourself.
There you go. There you go. Gambler becomes a member. You could use that get to work emoji now. Thank you. And I think we hit our 100 souls for the Commodore. Caroline, gifted 10. That's 106. Minus 4. Give us a few more to scrub the floor.
Wait,
Thank you
I
so-
said pure souls. Pure souls.
Thank
Wait.
you so much.
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
Gosh, thank you guys for the generosity. Absolutely amazing people here. Almost 200 people watching. I would do these and do these two times a week if I thought that people would enjoy them. But Caroline, holy crap. Thank you for the 10. Dan Vass, my dude. Stop it. Thank you for the 20. Gambler, thank you for becoming a new member. Bearded Clam, did I read that right? Has also become a member of the channel. You guys just really want to work, huh? You guys want to eat like old moldy bread with bugs in it and just drink water mixed with rum.
They could pick around it.
I'm just saying. Dan Vass said the urine barrels convinced him to give. Is that what you guys use in Brazil? I don't know. But seriously, all the love and support that we're getting over here, we're actually just putting it all back into this pirate book adventure that's coming out. I really hope you guys enjoy it. There's going to be real cutlasses. There's going to be coins like the pirate. We just told the pirate crew they're all going to have a little role in it. It's going to be incredible. It's gonna be, and I even want like action figures, man. Like I want some action figures. Like I'm looking at like action figures, just like maybe I can get 10 or 20 of them of the main couple of the main characters that
That'd
we
be
can
awesome.
sell as well. And we're going all out, man. We're going all out, you know. And holy crap, Agmar for
So
X-Wing, congrats of becoming a dad, brother. Was that today?
thank you, Angmar. No, I would not be on the stream
Oh.
right
You
now.
think he'd be here?
Yeah, he wouldn't be here.
She's at the hospital getting started. I told her I'd meet her a little later.
Oh, that's a real pirate, man. That's a real pirate right there.
Oh my
I got a
God.
live stream, honey. Just pop it out. I'll be right there. Holy crap. I
Hold
was
your
like,
horses. I'll be there in an hour and a half.
She's
that's
not
some
even going to remember.
dedication. Did I say your name right?
Angmar.
Agmar.
Angmar.
Ingmar.
I think he hates me. Sorry. Well, anyway, I try my best. I'm not much of a Lord of the Rings, even though that's probably one of the greatest trilogies ever made, ever.
Yeah.
Durag Vince for 5. Wherever did you say it smells like piss, I set up my bunker there. I'm the best seaman you'll ever meet. Durag Vince, take that durag off.
Vince will be right at home there.
And Bearded Clam says we need 5 more members to clean up Van Dask's duty.
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
All right, he says he doesn't hate me. All right, that's good. I keep messing up your name. I don't do it I did it on purpose the first time, but now that you're being so generous, I felt bad.
We're going to tattoo it on him. Then
Yeah,
we'll never
we could
forget.
steal for 2. Congrats to X-Wing. Yeah, slip one past the goalie. Good for you.
Yep. Like Lionel Messi. Go!
Ole,
It's gonna be awesome. Thank you guys so much. And $50, and I can't believe that. I don't have any other pirate clips to play except for the one that he made. So
Give us the
looks like I
trailer
gotta
one more
get.
time.
Looks like I gotta get on that. Anyway, today we're gonna talk about a special movie.
Oh, yeah.
People keep bringing it up. The movie is Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World. Now, here's the crazy thing. This movie came out in 2003. Shall it be? With a budget.
They're after me.
That might be me.
Are you being like someone coming to get you? Like, all right. We know King's Advisors lives in the hood. Very good. So
There's a warrant out for that atrocity of a hat. That's what's going on.
This movie came out in 2003, starring Russell Crowe. Still holds up today amazingly, and the lengths that they went to film this by rebuilding a ship, things like that. The budget. The sad part is, if there's a sad part, the budget of this film was about $150 million, and when it was released in theater, it didn't really break even. It kind of almost did, right? The numbers are a little fudgy, but it said that in this box office only made 211. Now, usually when a movie is budgeted around 150, it's got to at least do half that to break even. Normally, depending on how much they spent on marketing and things like that. And it just didn't, for some strange reason, it just didn't really catch on until years later, until people were like talking about it after it came out on like its Blu-ray and DVD sales did extremely well for this film. And people were just like, you got to watch. What are you doing, man? You got to watch this. You got to watch it. I own like the DVD. I also own the digital download. I own like the behind the scenes that they have. I have all that stuff for this film. And they announced in 2021 that they were going to work on a prequel with Lucky Jack, the same character that's in the films. Because if you didn't know, this comes from a book series that is I don't know how many books there is. There's several.
20.
How many?
20.
20 books in this series.
Wow.
Which were written in what time? Anybody know?
I think it was the late 19th, early 20th century.
So
It was written by Patrick O'Brien.
Patrick O'Brien did a series about Jack Aubrey.
The Far Side
And,
of the World.
Yeah, and this were all these books about the war with Napoleon, or is
No.
it just like his life story?
So it's Aubrey's life story, basically. And what's actually funny is the conflict that takes place in the movie should, if you're going to be book accurate, should actually have been against a U.S. ship during the War of 1812.
Ironsides.
But there's
Wait, so Jack actually flew an American ship?
no, Jack was a British officer, but
Right.
Okay.
So Master Commander takes stuff from 3 different books of the Jack Aubrey series. It takes its title from the first book, Master Commander. It takes the conflict against a U.S. ship from, I think, the 8th book, and then I believe it takes the what's the thing they build, the first command for that midshipman, and then the
You're talking about the lantern in the bucket.
the lantern.
People aren't going to know what we're talking about quite there.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
Yeah.
and
I don't
then
either.
one other part from a different book.
So the problem was that the director thought that Americans wouldn't be able to deal with the idea of them engaging an American ship. That our sensibilities as Americans would be offended if we used the USS Constitution.
Which actually the Fox producer says that's not true. The guy that, because this was a passion project for the Fox guy. He's like, that's absolutely not why we did it. But the Miramax guy is like, I'm pretty sure that's why we did it.
Yeah, he was on camera saying that.
studios.
Yeah. We're soft.
Would it have angered anyone if they were hunting down an American ship?
I think I like the idea of Britain versus France better than Britain versus
I do too.
America.
Yeah.
You know,
Overall,
the
I
old enemy,
like the idea. I don't like the French.
the old enemy. Love that.
Anything up against the French is a good day. I mean, it's just a good day.
Yeah.
So that's where we are. So the backstory of this film was taken from 3 different books and mashed together into one. So basically, it's about the surprise, which Jack is the captain on, and he's going after a French frigate.
French privateer.
Okay.
Well, the ship was a frigate. It was a heavy frigate, the Acheron.
And that's the whole battle. Basically, the French. So the opening scene of the film is pretty epic, right? They're just kind of hanging out, and it really showed a lot of how the British Navy did things, and probably the American Navy as well, where they just had children that were officers in charge of men.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty wild. Like, a lot of people were taken back by that. It's like, you got like kids telling me what to do.
Yeah, 13-year-old kids in training to become lieutenants, and then eventually go off and do their own thing, go into their own commands.
Yep. So you'd have,
I mean, the life expectancy of people were like 46, like 50, like
that's an old man.
They didn't live that long. So, we got to get them in there while they're young. Can you read? Yeah. Does your father have a good name? Yeah. All right. You're in the Navy, and you're probably going to be the captain by the age of 17. So,
wild.
Yeah. So you basically go to war college at like 10 years old. If you were the second or third son, or the first son of like a doctor or a lawyer.
So I got to stop you right there, because I think you're talking through your webcam mic. I don't mean to be rude. I just think you're...
No, it says Yeti.
Oh, never mind. Continue.
Is that better?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So what
Much
was
better.
the issue? What was I not? Was
I had
wrong?
I had the sound thing on the other side of the mic.
Split screen.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, you basically go to war college. It's like 10 years old. Basically learn the ropes of being a commander on a ship, and then you go and be a midshipman and learn how to actually do it.
I wasn't doing any of that at 10 years old. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well,
Playing
Nope,
video
I wasn't
games.
either.
so the movie starts with the young people, the officers, just looking into the clouds,
Mhm.
and you have a really cool scene where you kind of see a silhouette of a ship, and then they're all like, "Did you see something or not?" And then they were a little nervous to wake the captain. You know, they're
Mhm.
kind of like, "I don't know, I didn't see anything. I don't know."
Yeah.
They do it anyway. They beat to quarters. The captain gets up. Yeah, he puts on his garb and everything. He goes out there, and they're all looking, and he's like, "All right, well, you did the right thing, you know." And then he has that double take of Lucky Jack, where he looks and he sees the cannons firing off into the distance,
Such a cool scene, man.
Mhm.
just like the little red,
Yep.
and orders everyone to get down, and their ships take a pretty big beating.
Mhm.
The French ship comes out of the fog and just, you know, annihilates the man, just like and then it's pretty cool because then the ship takes a turn and is behind them, and there's a big hole in the Surprise. You know, the captain gets a cannon from down below, sticks it on the back, tries to hit them, and the only way he could win this is to escape. So what does he do now? This is where you guys have to do the talking, because he gets people out in rowboats because he can't, you know, there's not enough wind to escape. He gets people out in rowboats and they row into the fog, and then they just keep quiet. The meantime, while they're trying to escape, the ship is sinking. You know, half the people are laying with blood all over. They had that scene from The Doctor where he's just slipping in everyone's
Mhm.
blood.
They're
They
throwing
pour more
sand on the
sand.
deck.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They, you know, it's just a crazy scene of what it was like. Like, people were getting shards of wood put all into them, but and this was a photo from the opening scene right there. The interesting thing though is that in the opening scene, like, kind of sets the tone of why the cannonballs were not impacting the ship of the French. You know, because he's like watching, like, what are we doing wrong here? And now I did hear that a lot of times that when they shot cannonballs, it didn't break up the ship. A lot of the times I could be wrong, but how realistic was that opening scene?
So I don't know if anyone has watched what is it? It's like History Net or something like that. It's this that new streaming service for history shows. There's an historian on there from the UK, Dan Snow, I think is his name, who says that Master and Commander is the most historically accurate Hollywood production of naval combat he's ever seen.
Yep. Yeah.
So
So
they try to keep it as accurate as possible.
It is there is a reason this was $150 million movie.
yeah.
Because
At the
not
time,
only,
at the time.
not only did they call Weta, who was at the time busy on Lord of the Rings, to do an actual miniature mock-up of the HMS Surprise and the Acheron, but they also dealt with our good friends across the room over at Hollywood, ILM.
Yep.
Who were instrumental in the scene where they go around the Cape and there's that storm. It's the first instance in Hollywood to have computer-generated storm and real storm together. So there's many of those scenes that you see where that ship, the HMS Rose is what it was, is actually going around that storm. So that was really filmed there.
What about you, Wicked? The opening scene, and then I'm gonna read these super chats, and then we'll get. I see X-Wing has something he wants to share. We'll get into that. I'll pull that up as well.
It was really intense. I thought that how did you say his name? Blakeney, the kid?
Blakely.
I'm like, did they just take out a kid right away in the beginning? Like, I mean, it was realistic. I mean, we know what happens. He ends up being okay. That scene was really powerful too. Like, he was such a, you know, with his arm, the way he handled that. And what did the doctor say? You're the bravest patient I've ever had.
Yep,
but no, that opening scene was intense. Like, it brought you in. It wasn't like it starts and they're just sailing around playing music. No, it starts and 2 minutes in, it's just war, blood,
Yeah. Hell on
cannons.
earth.
It was, yes, it was very, I really liked opening scene. It was great. Great
pretty
start.
wild.
That's what
Um,
Master and Commander does really well. That's why I love when a movie's historically accurate. There's no such thing as plot armor. So the
Yeah.
people that you know and the people that you've come to love, you have to watch them die, and it's
Yeah, you guys seen in the group chat, I was like, "Oh, cool, Joseph Morgan's in it." And then 5 minutes later, William's drowning, and I was like, "Oh, come on."
whoops.
I
Yeah.
got excited. But it was they did it really well because you got to have drama. And of course stuff like that actually happened back then, but that's Hollywood. They got to add a bit more drama to it, you know what I mean? To make it like he's chopping the thing cuz he has to save the crew and he's almost there.
Yep.
oh
It
man,
got
we
me.
haven't even gotten to
Yes.
that, but yeah, that was intense. Want to
Yeah,
read this
sorry.
one? X-Wing,
Yeah,
since you're pointing at it?
this is important. Yeah, so this is what Kings and I were talking about, and actually, we were talking about the cannonballs just bouncing off the hull, right? And this was pulled from the USS Constitution. They called it Old Ironsides because it was a different way of making the hull. So it used to be you would have white oak, a hull made completely of white oak. The USS Constitution had something different. It was white oak on the outside, live oak on the inside, and then another layer of white oak on the outside. So this video that I have pulled up shows you what a hull of pure white oak does with a cannonball, and then I'll skip forward and you'll see what the cannonball does to a video of white oak, live oak, and then white oak.
Oh, awesome. We'll pull that up in a second. TZ Rock for 20. Hail. Charles Vane did nothing wrong, but Ned Lowe did everything wrong on purpose. Oh, I see a little pirate fight going on in here. Master for 20, talking through your webcam is the most awesome put down in the internet age. Sorry, Kings. It is a pretty bad put down. Thank you for the 20. Brian says, speaking of, Jay, when you see if these characters is going to be an amputee like the boy, you obviously have problems holding on to the ship since you fall off so much.
He's not wrong.
Nah, man. Not doing it. Not doing it.
No.
Dreaming to have this painting a beautiful portrait of all of us on this ship. So,
I'm so
I'm
excited.
like, I'm not in it. She went back apparently and watched some of the clips of this to make sure she got our characters. So I'm not cutting my arm off. Captain Wreck for 5. Thank you for the 20, Brian. The reason Jack gave Blakeney the book on Nelson is because Nelson was also an amputee.
Correct.
The film is incredibly accurate. I chat about it all day. Thank you for the $5.
Horatio Nelson, the captain of the HMS Victory, one of the most prolific sea captains out there. Okay, so this is the hull of a pure white oak ship. As it comes through, you'll see it just punches right through. And the thing that gets you, if you don't get hit by the ball, are these giant timbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what we see happen to Blakely.
Yep. So Blakely catches a bunch of that shrapnel, if you will. Now this is a hull with white oak and live oak inside. Same cannonball, same charge. Boop.
It bounces off.
Yep.
And so that's what he was holding when he was saying this is why the cannonballs are not hitting.
Yeah.
So just before that, they talk about how it's Yankee built. It was built in Boston.
In a Boston yard.
That's one of the things that we learned from the Siege of Charleston was that live wood that isn't like, years old or been sitting in the sun to bake actually has more bounce to it, so it can help prevent cannonball.
I simply could not imagine bringing my guns to bear on a ship, firing everything, and watch them harmlessly bounce off of the hull.
Right?
Disheartened doesn't even begin to describe it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like that's, but I mean, like, it's crazy because you see, there are men which is something like there are men that are pumping out the water,
bilge pumps,
because the ship is sinking. You got the guy trying to patch up the holes, like me and Wiki do on Sea of Thieves.
You know what's crazy,
they're like
Jay?
shoving in. I don't know what they're shoving in the hole, but they're shoving in some kind of like
canvas and wood wedges. Mm-hmm. And what's funny is we are still trained to do that to this day. So if you look at naval hole patching on steel ships, warships that we have nowadays, it's still dudes with wedges and canvas. They plug holes that way.
It works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you have people firing the guns, and you could just tell, like, everybody gets one shot, and then you just see what happens, see what's left, what's laying around you. You know, everything is just like such in slow motion. Well, they rode the ship into the fog and the chase is on. So is this whole movie a chase? Like, is the French, it's
Yeah.
just, they're just trying to find them and they're going to go all the way, you know, all over the world. And it's just the whole world in this movie consists of two ships. One is chasing the other.
Yep. I mean,
But
that
how
heavy
did-
frigate was sent. They were privateers. They were sent there to disrupt trade, to peeve off England. Essentially, Napoleon's looking at, you know, invading England at this time, and essentially, you know, obviously this whole thing is a fictitious story, but the orders come in at the beginning. It said, "Find it. I don't care what you do with it. Sink it. Take it as a prize. I don't
Sink
care.
it, find
Just
it, sink it,
get
take
it.
it a prize.
Just get rid of it."
But I mean, like the crazy thing is like in history though, that was the same type of mentality. These ships would have one ship in their target and they would chase them all over the world until they found them. You know, because like we see in this film, like when the chase scene is on, they have to go to some place to kind of repair. They got to go to a dock. Everybody's trying to get him to go back home, you know, and like start over. And he's like, nah, we're not going to do that. We're going to fix it. We're going to find a place and we're going to win. Right. So they go all over the place. They go way north, south, you know, South Pole almost seems like. Am I right on that?
Yeah, so that storm takes place as they cross the what's the cape down there at the bottom of South America?
Cape Horn.
Cape Horn, yeah. And so that's where that storm is. But prior to that, you know, we see them at the end of that first battle. They basically lost their mainmast.
Yeah.
And so getting pulled into the fog saves them, but they can't really do anything without repairs. So they pull into that shoal, and that's why you see that scene where like you got about a third of the ship out of water that you wouldn't normally see, because what they've basically done is run aground.
Yeah.
And park the boat so they can repair. And I mean, and what they'll do is they'll put bodies in the rowboats to row it out, and wait for high tide and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is crazy what really shows you kind of how many different roles on the ship they had. Carpenters were a huge important thing on those ships because they were able to basically fix the whole thing while they were out at sea.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that scene where they show the guys, they're cutting basically oak on the deck to fit it to the places they need to, and then there's a cow under, there's a cow and a goat downstairs.
They're fixing the banister, and then they're fixing the figurehead on the front of the ship. Yeah, it's like you wouldn't think that was important to do. That we'll just do that when we get back to dry dock. But no, these were their homes. They wanted them built right.
Yeah.
I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but the ship in this film did they build that for this movie?
So
how did that?
The HMS Surprise is an actual ship. It was the HMS Rose.
Okay.
And it was a ship that was in Rhode Island. So what they did was Fox bought the ship and sailed it to LA.
Oh man, I wish I could have been on that.
What? They boxed?
So they bought the ship and they sailed it to LA.
Yeah.
And they parked it at Baja Studios where they filmed Titanic. So
who do you buy that ship from? Like
it was some
private owner.
Yeah. It was let's see, they bought it
some rich guy had an old sailboat that they could convert for this film is what you're saying?
It was sold out of service at some point, and then it just remained in private collectors' hands until they bought it.
Okay.
Yeah, to a Phil Boger.
Yeah, some dude just had this thing. Just had it. Just had it laying around. Like, what are you doing on Friday? I was thinking about taking the boat out.
You want to come? Yeah. You show up and you're thinking like, 20-foot boat, like John boat type thing. No, it's a tall ship.
I'd be in full pirate regalia. I didn't say it was a pleasure cruise. Now get to work.
So what did they do with it after the film?
So they actually, after they finished filming it, they donated it to a what's it called?
Museum. Someone said in the
Yeah,
museum
yeah,
in
to a
San
museum,
Diego.
basically.
Wait. This was a private owner.
Mhm.
Sold it to a movie studio.
Yep.
When they were done with it, they just said, let's just stick it in a museum.
Full-blown Indiana Jones status, yeah.
It's probably kind of like how what's the Yorktown and the what's the aircraft carrier in New York?
Is it the Kennedy?
It's pretty
No,
wild.
it's a better name than that.
Remember.
So it's probably one of those things where it's just like a tall ship that's at a Navy yard that you can go walk around. It's probably kind of parked like the USS Constitution.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they sailed it around the Horn, got 10 days worth of footage. Russell Crowe and crew actually went out there and actually sailed on the ship. They got their sea legs really early, all that kind of stuff. And then they parked the ship on a giant gimbal.
That's insane.
Yep.
That explains a portion of that 150 million?
Yeah. So the actually, no, I take that back. They remade the ship and parked the remake on the gimbal. And in fact, some of the only CG in the movie is the top of the ship. So because of the weight of the ship, they weren't able to do the full masts. So they did like a half mast and then you use CG to make the rest of the mast. But that scene where you see Russell Crowe and Tom, the first mate, you see them up there at the top of the main mast. That's part of what they were filming when they sailed it around the continent.
Well, while they were sailing around the continent, the one scene that really hit Wicked right in the face was the storm scene, and this was like while they were, that's probably one of the better pictures. I could probably play a little bit without getting in too much trouble. I mean, this right here, you could see there's a hand sticking out of the water and the ropes were tangled, and even the shipmates couldn't cut the ropes after being ordered because those were their friends on board. Yep. And I know I got super chats. I'm going to get to them in just a second, but it's like the ropes were there and they just couldn't do it. So the captain had to do what he had to do and cut the ropes and lost. I don't know how many crew members they were. It
was just William. It was just William. And he was like a favorite on board. Yeah. That's why they couldn't do it. So it was a hard call for the captain because, I mean, if he would have let it stay attached, the ship would have capsized and then they all would have been dead. So he had to sacrifice William. And it was a sad moment because he was on it. And then when it broke off,
fixing it, right?
He was bringing in the sails.
Yeah.
Because he was almost going to be the hero.
Yeah. The carpenter mate basically yells to the captain, "I can't promise that this mast will survive the Horn." Yeah. And he goes, your recommendation will be noted in the ship's log. And the ship's master, which is the kind of short, bigger guy with the white hair, sends him and the oldest midshipman to go bring in the sails. And the oldest midshipman was the officer of the watch at the beginning. So this is now the second bad thing that's happened while he's been on watch.
Yeah. That's why, they think he's cursed.
Yeah, they think he's a Jonah.
At the end of the day, though, it was the captain's orders to go through there and do all these things. Mm-hmm. But the guy that had even though that young man, he thought he was cursed,
Thomas,
he was the guy that pretty much saved them at the beginning because he beat the quarters to wake everybody up. He didn't want
to, remember.
He
didn't want to be. It was the other officer. It was.
It was Holm, right? Sorry, not.
Yeah,
Thomas.
It was Holm. Holm wanted to said that they needed to decide whether or not to beat the quarters, and he's the one that said we'll beat the quarters. Jonah didn't want to.
It's crazy to think like. How old do you think that? What was his name again? The kid that was bad luck.
In
the movie, William, you said?
No, William's the one that dies that
Right.
was trying to fix sails.
Who was the guy that was bad luck?
I don't
Was
remember his
Hallam?
name.
Wasn't it Hallam? Whatever. I keep saying his name wrong.
Yeah, it was.
Whatever
it was
his.
Holland.
How old do you think he was in that? Like,
so-
how old was his
He
character?
said it.
He
He
tells
was.
him.
I think he was like 26 or something.
Yeah,
He's like,
well,
you're
he
gonna
was-
be 27 or 26 or something like that. He was
Yeah.
like in his late 20s.
Way too old for.
You're
a
muted,
midshipman.
X-Wing. You're muted.
My bad. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. No, they said, how old are you? 26. And he said, I'll be 30 next Friday.
Oh yeah.
Oh
He's
yeah.
way too old to be a midshipman.
And they say you failed lieutenant twice already.
Yep.
Some people like to put young people in positions like that. Like you look at our young people today. Like, would you want them like running a crew on the ship? You know, it's like, would they just be filming TikToks? Like, what the heck? But it's crazy the amount of responsibility that these young people had today. Even looking at the young man who lost his arm, you know, in the beginning, he was in charge of a whole, you know, going into the other ship, and he's like one arm shooting people, killing people in the film, you know.
Love that
And it's
kid.
He was. I liked him. He was a good.
Mhm.
character.
The crazy thing about that character, and if someone in the chat remembers his name, help me out. But he ends up committing suicide.
Oh,
Yeah.
Holland.
Yeah. So he feels that he's cursed. Nobody likes him. They play into they
Jonah?
play into the crew just plays into like he's a terrible person.
Mhm.
He gets a person whipped because he doesn't have strength as a leader. Remember the guy like shouldered him in front of the captain and he gets whipped. So then everyone's like saluting him like super fast, and he never steps into his role. They get into that one place in the Galapagos, right? Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah. And the wind stops. And they think it's all his fault. So what does he do? He just says, I am a cursed individual. And he grabs a cannonball and just sinks to the bottom of the ocean. As soon as he does that, the wind starts blowing. It's an interesting thing because we all talk about pirates and how, and even Pirates of the Caribbean movies play up this. There are curses and there are things at work when you're out on sea. And if you do the wrong thing, you know, it's like parlay and, the black spot. Remember, they would do a dance every time they touched it. There was all this stuff that played into it. So it's kind of interesting that in a realistic film like this, that they threw in stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Do you want to hear a couple funny ones?
Sure.
So anyone carrying an umbrella on board, that's going to bring you bad luck. Anyone pounding nails on a ship on Sunday, hawks, owls, and crows landing on the ship, dropping the hatch into the hold, and never watch a ship sail out of sight because it'll be the last time you ever see it.
Those are some of the
some superstition.
Yeah, that they had. I mean, it's there's a lot. Let me knock some of these out real quick. Thank you guys so much. Almost 300 people here for your generosity. Brian C says, I take it back. Don't make your character and see if he's an amputee, Jay. We don't need you running into a fort with one arm shooting up the place. Appreciate it, Brian. Illicit for 10. Tall ships like that are for sale all the time. I did not know that. Right now, the brig Phoenix is for sale. She's a movie star as well. If you got $525K, she could be yours. All right, let's get those super chats up. Come on, let's get those super chats up.
Come on, I want a pirate ship.
So we can do this live from a pirate ship. Like, how
can you
cool
imagine you got those merchant ships that go around the Cape of Good Hope? Can you imagine just crossing the Cape of Good Hope and you see a tall ship with all its sails up coming after you?
It'd be pretty. Could you see me like trying to pilot that thing, like trying to move it around and like
just a bunch of cameras and podcast mics all over?
Yeah, just like like what the heck?
Today we're gonna play pirates.
It's pretty crazy. Captain Wreck for 2. She's the only sailing replica of its class left. Is that true?
I didn't know that.
And what is her class?
The Rose.
What is the class?
Well, the Surprise was considered a man of war.
So the Surprise was a 6-rate ship of the line, which just means that. So I've got a book here actually that describes what rates meant. So rates were just the number of cannons you had. So a 6-rate basically had from 20 to I think it was 35 cannons.
Yeah, but a man of war had hundreds of cannons.
Right. So a man of war. Let's see. Yeah, so a 6-rate was any number of guns up to 32 guns.
All right, so that was the man. And I mean, to get a cannon from below deck up to the top one in the opening scene would have taken like that wouldn't have been those things. It wouldn't have been easy.
Pulleys, man, pulleys were everything.
So with the amount of rope and everything on there, it's pretty wild. Wicked Steel for 5. He says, as a former U.S. Navy sailor on a ship, as a boatswain mate, did I say that right? They did teach exactly what X-Wing said in damage control.
We still do the same thing, man. It's crazy.
Blabs the Tower Tard. Oh, that's not nice. Steve Bonnet pre-ordered Starfield Pickles. Yay. Pretty funny, though. And Illicit Barrett becomes a member of the channel. Nice little...
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
Also got Americas for 5. Something tells me I should make Kings a proper leather hat. Yeah, don't even think about it. Just go for it. He would love that. Captain Wreck for 2. The OJMS HMS Rose was a 20-gun Seaford class. Yep. Oh, interesting.
Built at Blades Yard and Hull.
And Psychotic Mongoose brought 5 more crew members, baby.
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
So I love the other thing that this getting back to the film. So when they end up going to the islands, you know, you see a little bit of like Jack's obsession to take down this ship, you know, and finally he's got to come to a realization like, all right, we need a break, right? We need to chill. We need a break. All right, let's go. Will the doctor go explore your islands? And it's crazy to me that the doctor on board was like, I don't know, like he's the scientist, right?
Yeah,
he's the guy.
They're friends. They're Steven and Jack were best friends,
but they didn't always agree.
No, well, Steven was Irish, so
because he says in the one line to him, "Am I talking to the captain or my friend?" when he wants to level with him. So yeah, they were close.
But what you got to remember about this break was it was all because Steven got shot.
Yep.
I thought he was going to die then too. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah, I did too when I first saw
it. They knew they couldn't perform that surgery at sea, so he wanted to get him on land.
That scene when they actually do it, and he's like, "No, this is going to be by my own hand." I was like, "Oh my god, he's such a badass!" Yeah.
So what happened was a rare bird was flying around, right?
I think it was just
supposed to be a dodo.
I think they just wanted to kill it for food,
I think they
right?
just wanted meat.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the albatross or whatever.
It was just
He's very interested in animals, so that's why he was paying close attention to it. Yeah.
So that's it. So this guy was trying to shoot down a bird while the doctor was trying to like study it and capture it, and they ended up crossing paths, and the doctor gets shot.
Yep.
So by a dumb scene.
That's why you should always know what's behind the thing you're shooting at.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's just pointing up, and then hopefully I don't get clicked on this, but yeah, he's so happy to see the happy bird that's
about to get shot.
That's moving around, so he gets shot. Correct. And what was he? The backup doctor, or was he just the chef? Was trying to do the surgery?
He was basically the backup doctor. He was the apprentice almost.
Yeah, because he said he was like, I'll have to look at his drawings, and the captain's like, you have to look at his drawings, like he didn't know what he was doing. So
he's a Royal Marine. Everyone's in the chat. I know.
So he was the captain.
Like, but he shot a man while he was trying to shoot a bird.
He was the captain of the Marines.
And I know the dodo was flightless. The one he was interested on the island, something he found on the island was a flightless bird.
Yeah.
So then we get to an emotional scene where he's got to like, all right, we got to take a break. So the guy does the surgery on himself with a mirror.
That's insane.
He has to take the bullet out.
Crazy.
And it's
the
cool
bullet
too,
and
like
the cloth.
even
the cloth from his shirt. That's right.
Even like the soft man in the movie is just made of steel. You know what I mean? Like he's the sissy one on the ship, and he's just like, yeah, I'll do it.
Can you imagine doing surgery on yourself?
No.
Especially with no medicine. Like he just felt everything.
Here's some bourbon. Bite it out. Here's a leather chew toy.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, like, how old was that kid? They cut his arm off?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
What?
So
wasn't he like 10?
Go back to that.
13?
Yeah, he would have, I think, 10, 11, something like that. But they would have given him laudanum, which is old morphine, basically.
Yeah.
And they put the clamp up, they put the tourniquet up, and saw through the flesh, and then they saw through the bone, and then that's it. But it's like, holy crap.
But they burn it, right? Isn't that what the gunpowder was for? To like cauterize it?
I don't remember that.
Or do they just keep it clamped and like just let the rotten stuff fall off? Usually, it's just a lot of just like, no wonder these people don't live long, man.
I think it's a morphine type thing.
It's
America's
crazy.
just put it in the chat.
It was opium.
Yeah.
Opium and alcohol. Yeah.
It's pretty. The fact that you got to like stick a tool in your stomach to pull out a cloth and a bullet while having someone hold the mirror, and then you can't be under too much anesthesia because you got to do it. So you got to feel that pain. You just pretty much have got to put it in a place. But those kind of things happen on ships all the time. That's the crazy thing. The amount of sickness, the amount of things that happen. And if you were like a lower man on the totem pole, you got like I mean, look, in the movie itself, this guy's head got cracked open. The guy like peeled back the skin and he goes, all right, that's his brain.
Yep. Give me the coin.
Give me a coin. I'm like, you gonna wash it first, man? Like, you're not even gonna wash it. You just kind of like rub it with your thumb and stick it on his head.
That's the crazy part too, is when he hands
pull the
coin,
skin flap over and just hope for the best.
You can see the little holes in the coin where he's gonna have to drill into his skull eventually and put like screws in it. And the whole time everybody's looking over like, is that his brain?
Yeah.
No, that's his skull. That's his brains.
And then one guy starts yelling, get back to work, and then he stops and goes, what the freak are you doing to that guy? And he doesn't say anything. He just has that hold fast on his knuckles.
Yep.
That's holy crap, man.
And then he speaks, and Jack looks at him, and he's just like, very good job, Steven.
Yeah.
Didn't believe it was going to work at all.
He was my favorite, that old guy. You can just tell he's been on the ocean since he was 7 years old, and he's just buying into all the superstitions.
So they stop at the islands, and they're like, all right, let's just take a break. Everybody relax. I need my best friend. They had just gotten into a massive argument about one is I have my duty, and the other guy's like trying to and the doctor's trying to you got to see the humanity of what's going on here. You know, he's like, I got my duty. You don't understand. And so they would argue and fight with each other and all that stuff. And then he gets shot and he pulls everyone in. The doctor is in heaven because he's seeing creatures that have never been recorded before. He's captioning iguanas and taking notes, and that little boy's become latched onto him and he's learning to read and all that stuff. It's cool. And he climbs over the mountaintop, and what does he see?
Le Acheron.
And he's like,
you
just freaking ruined the greatest day of my life, man.
You gotta be kidding me. What are you doing here?
Exactly. And he's like,
what a beautiful shot, though, huh?
Isn't it?
Now, what ship was this? A real ship that they used as well in the film, or so did they use a real?
I think
they had a facade for the front of it. If I remember correctly, they built about a third of the front of it, and then the rest was CG. I could be mistaken, but
I love the chat. I need to watch it again. I need to watch it again too.
Yeah, it's such a good film.
So I watched it. Obviously, I watched it today. It's probably I'm probably in the 40s now. of how many times I've watched this movie.
Yeah. And that
it's genuinely probably my favorite movie.
Not to skip over it too, Jay. I mean, you brought up that.
No,
that,
go ahead. We just
that
having fun.
argument that they had in that captain's cabin was incredible, and it's actually really, really powerful if you listen to what they're saying, because he's like, what you're doing on this ship is barbaric. And he said, if you're looking for anarchy, you've come to the wrong shop here. Like, you don't understand that this wood is our home, and there has to be an order. I don't have time for
your damned hobbies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the way.
That was the slap to the face, because he's like, I'm like studying creatures, and that means so much to me. And you laughed at, like, you're calling me a stupid hobby. All right, fine.
You gotta think about the pressure of having.
That's when me and X-Wing get into a fight, and I yell about his Clone Wars figures. He gets really mad, and like, we don't talk for 3 days.
You have to imagine the pressure of trying to keep 200 men cooped up on a wooden ship for months and months and months and months, trying to maintain order. Talk about pressure, man. Not to mention fighting.
That's what I'm saying. Like, sickness, like disease, food. We have enough water. Like, what's happening is the wind blowing so we can move. You know, it's like, it's crazy, like what they had to deal with, the morale, cleanliness. You know, if one person catches like the flu, does everybody catch it in a day?
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, does it spread? How fast does it spread on a ship like that? It's crazy to think that scurvy was a thing. Basically, all you do is eat an orange every day and you'd never catch it. But like, that was a thing, you know, and especially if you got injured, you know, you twisted your ankle, you still got to get your work done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, they cut your finger off. It's like, you still got to, you know, we just saw your brains and put a piece of silver in there. Can you go back to work, please?
Yeah.
Like, like you said earlier, X-Wing, every role, it's interesting. It was a floating city because every role was important. Doctors, carpenters, warriors, you know, people that were great with direction, seamen, like, they have different orders, ranks. Everybody had their own role, because they were an expert in their own field. And then you had a certain group of people that just did all the grunt work, did the cleaning and just like whatever they were ordered to do, but they had like a list of duties that they had to accomplish every single day.
Yep.
And then when it's all hot, sweaty, nasty, they all slept together downstairs about 1 inch apart,
shoulder to shoulder, man. And the other cool thing that they did in the movie that I really appreciated.
What?
She's like, I can smell.
She's like, I don't want the stinky men. Gross.
The other cool thing that they did that was so important was, and I know you guys love this, but when they're singing Farewell, My Spanish Ladies, and that guy who's failed lieutenant twice is singing with them, and you can see the disappointment in Captain's eyes.
They all stopped singing.
Yeah, he says, you
ruined it.
You can't be friends with them. You can't be. You know, in the end, they'll wind up looking at you as a failure. You can't be friends with them. So there was the hierarchy as well.
I've always seen that part as they didn't like the beautifuln's in his voice.
Yeah, he did have a good voice.
Yeah, Steven comments that what a truly awesome voice Hallam has. And I thought that's kind of how, because they go from that song back to another one, but they're all being rambunctious. They're not being harmonic or anything, but he was. So that's how I've always seen that one.
But remember, the captain chides him when he comes to his quarters.
Yeah, much, much later.
Yeah.
So the captain's in his quarters, and this probably happened earlier on, but someone from his crew remember the French frigate being built.
Yep.
And he says, here's the problem with it. It's crazy. He's like, I'm a carpenter, so I recreated a model for you to look at, sir. You know, and he's like, here's the problem. And now like, they're like, oh, this is why the cannonballs don't work. This is why we got to do this. This changes everything now. They know, now we're at this place where they know that the French ship is right around the corner. So he puts a sneaky plan together. They're going to rename the ship. They're going to cut out the name. They rename it to something else. I can't remember. Then this scene right here, they put tons of rope in the fire to make it look like the ship's on fire.
Yeah, they're trying to make it look like a British whaling vessel.
They had everybody change their clothes, look like they were homeless, and run around the deck like they were they didn't know what they were doing.
Like whalers or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The Acheron had just attacked a whaling vessel.
And you know, the French, they were just so proud that they could just take the ship as their own. They were like, "Oh, we can take these. We could, you know, we can take these whalers. We'll just take their
There you
ship,
go, Wicked.
whatever." And the French ship pulls up alongside of it, and Lucky Jack. I love when they call him Lucky Jack. Like he's like, "All right, fire." And just
Left
goes
fly!
to the mast, man. Boom! They hitting the mast, you know.
Yep.
And that last shot from like I don't know who it was, one of the officers. He's like,
This
"All right,
is
let me hold it."
Yeah.
He's like, "Let me get it. Let me get the last shot." Boom! And then that's you just wait. You just wait and see what happens. And the mask falls down, and it's like it's now or never, boys. Now or never, you know.
And they
So
go.
talking about the Acheron, they actually did build an Acheron.
Oh, they did?
They built a tank one. But they also built each level of the Acheron to film on. So when they're fighting on
The boarding
the
party.
top deck, the boarding
Yeah.
party, that was a studio. When Jack is on the second deck and you know he gets stabbed, that's another deck or another studio. But yes, there were 8 or 9 ship type things built for this movie.
That's crazy.
That like the amount of money they did to spend on this, and it's like probably if they made this movie today, you think it would be a little more heavier CGI,
Oh,
or
absolutely.
do
They
you
would,
think
yeah.
like the guy would be like, I want to try to stay as true as possible to, you know, the film. So
If
should
it
we
got
just,
made
like-
today, it'd be James Cameron, and he'd try to do it practical. He'd do it in a big tank. He'd try to have a whole bunch of water involved and stuff like that. But
Oh, so I was reading about how they did the practical effects for the storm. So there were 3 storms basically. There was a CG storm, a real storm, and then a practical one. And what they did was they put jet engines in front of the ship to shoot water back out at the ship. And so they've got these jet engines here, and these tanks of water here, just dropping water in front of the jet engines and bringing the water back in the faces of the people on the boat.
wow.
All while it's on a gimbal doing this.
Yeah, a ship on a gimbal. That's insane. What love they had. What reverence they had, man. It's incredible.
It's just but I mean, at the end of the day, it's like the chess that these captains played to try to, you know, win the battle. And, you know, knowing like you literally have like one shot. You know, this scene right here is freaking like, I want to play it, but it's like, it's glorious because there's the French ship behind him, you know,
Yeah.
and he's just like, you could just see him like, you can see the French ship just sailing up like right behind him. And he's like, deep breath. All right, here we go. And then he just like unleashes hell.
English whale. This is your last warning.
Yeah, he's like, this is your last warning. But I mean, so they must have had paint and everything on the ship, like to change it. Dude, this massive battle at the end was just. I'm gonna play a little bit of it, but I'm gonna turn it up. Like, let's hope. Like they get ready and they're all set to
Fly the
go.
colors.
Like there's the cannons.
The French were sitting on the side of the boat.
Yep.
They're like, we're good, bro. We're good.
It was a nautical
know.
phasmid.
So this part is absolutely based on
There's
truth.
the mast. That's
Because
so cool.
Jack Aubrey was based on Thomas Cochrane.
So there's argument on that. There's either Thomas
Just
Cochrane.
let me have a
or-
moment, Candy
Okay,
Kings,
okay,
okay?
fine.
I had a cool story I was getting ready to tell. So Thomas Cochrane absolutely did this kind of stuff. Now, Kings is going to come back. He's going to smooth out the road after I'm done telling this story. But so he's based off of Thomas Cochrane, who was a prolific sailor, totally a Lucky Jack type, right? He wound up pissing off some lord he shouldn't have pissed off and was basically relegated to a tiny ship, a little bitty ship, like a 14-gun ship. wound up being extremely successful with that 14-gun ship by using tactics like releasing a lantern in a barrel that floated away, and the enemy ship chased the lantern in the barrel instead of the ship that he was on. And he also did that exact same thing. He pretended like he wasn't a warship until he was right up on him, and then flew the colors, let it loose, and took the ship down.
Wicked.
What? I'm just
Quiet
listening to
over
the
there.
story.
You looking
Yeah,
sad?
the HMS Speedy.
Fine.
That boy wrecked.
Mhm.
I'm just listening. Boys are excited. Let them tell their stories. Kings looks like he's itching to say something.
I'm ready
Well,
for
I'm
it.
just
You're
trying
good.
to get. I'm just trying to get through the film, and then we're gonna hear everyone.
The so those two events, the camouflaging yourself as a whaler, basically, and then the raft thing. Those were actually two different people. One was Cochrane. Cochrane did, I believe, the camouflage, and then another guy did the raft, and that's why there's debate whether or not one of them is supposed to be Aubrey or the other one is, but it's probably both.
So the battle ensues. They jump over to the other ship. There's gun blazing. The one-armed kid. he's just like points and
He's such a
shoots someone in the face.
trooper. That kid went through a lot. He lost his arm, and then he's seen Hullum, grab the cannon and jump in the water and die, making eye contact with doing it. He's just like, and then
that
at
was
this
so
battle,
creepy.
it was what was the kid's? Not that he was a kid. It was like Peter. Peter, that was his name.
Yeah,
his friend that
Yeah,
right at this battle was going off, and he's like, "See you afterwards." And
his friend died. Yeah.
That kid went through a lot.
Can you imagine being a grown man and this like 11-year-old kid goes, "We have to board them. Follow me." I'm like,
yeah, he's like,
whoa,
put on
without an arm too. He's 11-year-old kid.
He's like having everyone. He's like, tie on a black rag so we know who's friend from foe. Like, listen to what I'm saying. He's the first one through that hole, man, with a gun. Yep. He's just like, kapow. What does he say before he pulls the trigger?
Not kapow.
That's something. I know he doesn't say kapow, but he screams something out and then shoots a guy right in the face.
Surprised Kings doesn't remember.
And then, I just saw it today too. It's crazy, but I was like, ooh, but you're right, Wicked. I mean, talk about like growing up in their time, like the kids today, then he goes back, to England. He sees his friends on the playground. Hey, Billy, what'd you do this summer? Well, two of my best friends died on a ship. I took over. I lost an arm.
Killed 10 men.
As you can see.
I killed 47 Frenchmen.
I led an army and took over a ship.
Yeah.
It's like, what did you do? I collected cards. I don't know. I ate popsicles. I don't know.
I found some rocks.
It's like, yeah. I made a couple of TikToks.
It was awesome.
You want to watch?
That scene they included, and I appreciated this a lot, was the carronade instead of a cannon. So at the front of the boat, they had these really giant, heavy cannons that were just meant for basically like shotgun blast close. They were, they weren't used for long engagements. They had all of it. And then even when the gun decks were right next to each other, you saw Frenchmen in the heat of battle going, "We could still get them." And they were pointing the guns at the bottom of the boat to say, we can sink them. Mm-hmm. And during this huge sword fight, it's like, get to the cannon crews, take them out.
Well,
so cool.
The smoke clear and listen, like that, the thing that I appreciate this film is that I think out of even some of the other movies that we watch is like the smoke that would be so thick from all the gun blast, the gunpowder, cannons, that it would definitely be very difficult to see. There probably was a ton of friendly fire as people might have panicked, but when it was all said and done, Jack walks in, he's looking for the captain, and they have him decorated. And like the movie had it, the surgeon was like, he died, but he wanted you to have the sword as like a trophy. So he feels like he won. Then they, like what they did with their dead was just stitch them up and dump them over the side.
Yep.
And the one kid, we talking about the little one-armed Billy. He was like, "I'm gonna sew up my friend because I don't want anyone to stick him through the nose."
That was so sad. He's like, "Can you help me?" Because he only had one arm.
Yeah.
That was nice.
So that's when the little childlike, that was like one of the few times his little childlike came out, you know, or when he was like coloring like a bug in the book. You know, that was one of the few times. But he gave him his sword, and they think that everything is all well and good, but all of a sudden, like it's like a twist ending, right? I guess that's like they didn't know. So he beat to quarters at the end because he's like, I guess we didn't really find the true captain. And they set sail after they put a crew on the French ship. I guess they were going to return home with their prize. I guess something happened where he thought like maybe we just got tricked.
So they did get
the
tricked.
doctor was the
the
captain.
Yeah, the doctor was the
yeah,
captain.
because he's like their doctor's been. He was talking to his friend, his doctor. What's his name?
Right,
again?
but what else did they do? They were already captured, right? Like,
Dr.
so what?
Steven. Yeah. That's why they probably. I thought that the movie was going to be a bit longer because they say that and they changed course. So I'm guessing they're changing course to go back towards where the ship was to make sure everything was all good.
Yeah, they were
Because
going to.
it was actually
it
was actually the captain who was pretending to be the doctor, and he found
All right,
that
so what
out
happened?
because
Like, is there another book? Did something happen that we missed that they didn't do a part 2 for?
So I think that's what was. I think there was supposed to be another movie, and they just didn't make the money to do it. But yeah, I would imagine that the sequel was supposed to be them taking the Acheron into Kingston and then receiving orders to go chase some other Napoleonic frigate.
Yeah,
Which
so
would have been so
they
much fun.
probably would have just caught up because that ship was heavily damaged.
Mhm.
They would have caught up to the French ship and be like, "Hey, you're the captain, man. Don't you
You
try
totally got me, bro."
Hey,
Well, and they've probably
don't
got
you be fooling no more."
rockets on board to signal, and so they probably would have gotten close, fired a red rocket or something to signal to Tom, who's now in command of the Acheron, that hey, there's something going on, watch your back. And then when they got there, they'd escort them in.
and or flags.
Like,
a lot
it's
of
beautiful.
communication was happening with flags.
This is such a beautiful shot. It doesn't do it justice here on YouTube, but there's the ship right here. You could barely see it, and like as they fade out and the movie ends, you know. So, and that's Master and Commander.
The absolute what's the word I'm looking for? The wonder, of being on a wooden ship in the middle of the ocean. All you have is a compass and the stars to figure out where you're going. You can get lost on Tuesday. God knows where I'm going. I don't know what's going on. I'm on a wooden tub with bed sheets to get me from one country to another.
There's no magic map downstairs that shows where your ship is in relation to the island.
There's no satellites. There's no nothing.
Yeah, so the French ship, if they had taken over the crew again, they could have like done the reverse and like sailed off into the fog and done all that stuff. So it's pretty wild. There were some like interesting questions in the chat. They were like, "Do you think people have lost their hearing like on those ships?"
Oh, 1,000%. 100. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So in St. Augustine, if you ever get a chance to go, they actually shoot off a cannon. And it's like, it's freaking loud, man. Like, it's freaking loud, dude. And they warn everybody, like, everybody put your hands over your ears. Like,
no way, I'm taking it full blast. I want to hear it.
What was that?
You won't hear anything else.
That's fine. If that's the last thing I hear,
it's gonna be the end of your hearing. Is like a cannon
that's the
blast.
last thing I hear.
I mean, you can hear it fine with your hand with your hands covering your ears. You could hear it just fine. So
the claustrophobia, like I can't even imagine of being on a gun deck on a ship when all of those cannons are going off, the smoke, the noise, you're getting shot at and almost killed too. Like, oh,
there's Wicked's little buddy going for it.
Buddy.
I don't know what he says here, but he said something.
Let's hear it.
Well, that's he just shot a guy.
I tried hearing
it.
Let me
do it one more time. Here we go. He said something. I don't know. He screamed it. Even the closed caption didn't pick it up. So,
could you imagine making it through 7 battles and all of a sudden this 13-year-old kid pops through your ship and just bam! This is how I go.
It's pretty wild, man. It's pretty wild. But Wicked, like you just saw it for the first time. What's your overall?
I loved it. Period pieces usually do well. It's kind of sad that some of them, like that one, don't do great when they first drop. People don't appreciate it until they get a chance to get the DVD or Blu-ray. That happens with a lot of movies, especially period pieces. But I loved it. The accuracy, so much emotion, the action was amazing, and it grips you right away. There's no boring like. Sometimes movies like this, it starts off slow, like the first at least 15, 20 minutes. You're just like, okay, can we get into the action? But it wasn't like that with this. Like, you jump in and there's a battle immediately. Really good. Really well done. Russell Crowe was amazing in it. Paul Bettany. They had a great cast. At the time, some of the people weren't even big yet. Like Joseph Morgan. I know he was a very small role, William, but he still, he ended up becoming pretty big.
And I got a
You saw
treat
who
for
the
everyone in the
helmsman
chat.
was, right?
A special treat for all of you in the chat. For some strange reason, this dude uploaded the entire film in 4K on YouTube, and
Link
it's been up for over a month.
There you
So
go.
if you have never seen it, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. Make sure you watch it quick because these things don't stay up long. I don't know
And if-
why. There it is. So if
Yeah.
you want to see it and you don't want to
If,
pay for it,
If they don't stay up, you could rent it for $1.50 on Amazon too.
Yeah,
There
it's
you
not
go.
expensive.
There you go. Yeah.
so
So-
Mary fires up the YouTube download.
Yeah, y'all saw who
No.
was playing the helmsman, right?
Mary.
Billy Boyd
Oh,
was the
yeah.
helmsman, which means he went from playing a Hobbit in New Zealand all the way to San Diego to play a helmsman on a Navy ship.
He smokes
how-
too much.
I just give my chat so much. Look at that. Everybody's happy. I needs it. There it is. I just give away too much. You come
Pippin,
to the
not
right
Mary.
channel,
Sorry.
man. I always look out for you, chat. Always, because you always take care of me. Severin becomes a member. You sure?
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
You want to take this one? X-Wing before I...
Captain Wreck for 5 says, in the books, they are
Colin.
friends for over 20 years. Stephen was his first ship's doctor as a captain in book 1 in 1800. The bullet scene was from the books too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How long were these books? I might have to order the whole set.
You know what was actually something we never talked about? What was so funny was Captain Nelson was a huge inspiration for all of them, right? Horatio Nelson, he was the captain of the Victory. This was, if I remember correctly, April of 1805 when the movie takes place.
1805
Nelson-
or 1807, I can't remember.
Nelson dies in December of 1805. So all of this praise that they're giving for Captain Nelson, and he dies just a few months after that, killed on the Victory.
Wow.
You can actually visit the Victory and go to the spot where Captain Nelson was killed.
I went to Blackbeard's place. It was cool. I still have to make that video. I need a really good editor for that video. I'm gonna be on the hunt. Because I've got like live action,
October.
and then I want to go into like the story, so it'll be a long video. But I want that one done right because I don't know when I'm ever gonna get back to go hang out where Blackbeard was killed and like lived over there in Bath, North Carolina. Just that bro for 2. It says IR we tall did. All right.
Toads.
I get it. He's like, I'm retarded. So I get it. Yeah, good job. Captain Wreck for 2. The OG. Oh, I got this one already. I think we're caught up. Oh no, and MASH. He's like bringing somebody else on.
Welcome to the crew. Now get to work.
I love like people in our chat. Like, this is awesome. I've been on the Victory and was at that spot.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's on like the it's not on the quarter deck. It's like it's like the second deck or something like that. Right on the outside of the ship. You can go to the spot where he died.
That's in where is it actually located? The
It's
Victory.
in England.
Yeah, but where? Do you know whereabouts?
I don't remember the name. No.
It's one of the
It's a port.
Navy yards. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's. Well, I can just tell you, it's
Portsmouth.
Portsmouth. Yeah, main road.
Oh yeah.
Every once in a while, they'll do a rolling broadside off of the Victory, and they have 60 guns just go off. That's on my dream board for sure.
I went there, Bill. I got the I got to go there. I did like its whole December driving through pirate stuff, man, and just like seeing everything. It was pretty awesome.
It's actually the Victory is actually closed right now. They're doing a full restoration. They've gutted it. They've got all the planks on the sides taken off to replace all the rotten wood. Wow. It's costing about 42 million pounds.
Yeah.
Amanda says, gotta go. Great stream, great movie, great crew. Have a great night, everyone. Yeah, I mean,
Thanks for coming.
What you got for us, Kings? You said you had some extra special knowledge of this
film. I've already given it. The whole the fact that ILM was involved, that
right.
Weta, while they're working on, because what's so funny is if this movie had come out a year before or a year later, it would have won every Academy Award it was nominated for. But the problem is that it went up against Return of the King, which had a clean sweep. So, what that says is, while Weta is sitting there building the Black Gate, while Weta Digital is sitting there doing all the stuff with with Barad-dûr falling down, while they're making the orcs and the chainmail and all that stuff, they're also sitting over here building a boat that was 20 feet. They built a 20-foot long miniature of the HMS Surprise, and then shipped it to the U.S. and did digital scans and sent those as well.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
If you like that kind of stuff, it's not going to be around too much longer because, well, hopefully it will be. Like these things gets preserved. We live in this ridiculous time where taking down statues and stuff like that because of like what they did in the past. I could literally see some weird person out of college saying, we need to get rid of these boats. They were slave trader boats.
We got to sink the Victory. It offends my opinions.
We got to get it. We got to get rid of them. Let's just burn it up and like be done with it. So, what is going on? Who is this Blabs person for 5? Admiral Nelson put some.
It was my bad. I called him
on
Captain
his name,
Nelson.
You scallywag.
Yeah,
I like pickles.
My bad.
I didn't even catch that. So
it was Admiral Nelson, Viscount the first Duke of somewhere.
Bronte.
Thank you.
The first Duke of Bronte.
If this is true, it's pretty amazing. Technically, the last time the Victory was damaged was in World War II. Mm-hmm. She was hit by a bomb from a German bomber.
It's insane.
That's crazy, man. Like,
and
that's freaking crazy when you think about it.
Shield Wall says that the USS Constitution is still on active service in the U.S. Navy. It is. They have an entire like orchard where they grow wood just for the Constitution if she needs to be repaired.
So on my
it's in like Georgia, isn't it?
Yeah.
No. On my jaywalk in the Constitution is in Boston.
No, the
orchard.
Trees.
Yeah, the trees.
Orchard.
Okay. Yeah. So on my jaywalk in the Planet Channel, me and Ryan Kennel did the Boston walk. Like they had these little bricks on the ground, and it took us all the way to the Constitution, and we went in. And I got a picture of me like on my Instagram of me like steering the ship. It was pretty awesome. The crazy thing though about those ships, I don't know if Wiki, you ever been in one of those ships before? Like once you get down a deck, it's like 3 feet high, man. I mean,
claustrophobic.
Someone as tall as me was like literally like on my hands, like just trying to see everything. And I couldn't imagine like when you're in that and you have to move quickly. I mean, I don't think they were, maybe people weren't 6 feet tall, but I'm sure they were, but like having to deal with that. And then you go down to another deck where they slept, and it looks like it's even smaller. It's crazy. When I was filming, you could see me. I'm like all like hunched over.
They weren't built for guys like us.
No,
and
they put some padding up in certain areas because I guess people would they're not used to being bent over like that for a long period of time. They would bang their head while they were walking through.
Yeah.
And that's gotta hurt, So I was very careful. I had one hand up while I was walking and like one hand to like hold me up.
A 6x12 oak timber hurts when you're walking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy, but it was like again watching these movies and trying to understand more of like how a pirate lived and how these people lived on a ship and going through the storm. When I watched Master and Commander again today, that storm scene just reminded me of like the White House with Sam Bellamy, like probably the same thing. Storms just they probably had the sails down or something and just ripped it up and like they didn't know what they were doing and boom, down it goes. So any closing thoughts as we hit the 1 hour and 30-minute mark?
Pirate
podcast.
So what I would say is if anybody hasn't already, watch Master and Commander for the sole reason that it really shows you just how scary and unknown everything was in that time when you were on a ship. You would, if you had somebody who was a tactician like the captain of the Acheron, you would be sailing right along, and then all of a sudden, this guy who's bigger, better, scarier, with more guns, more sails, faster than you would show up behind you, and you go, what do I do? What can I do? Essentially the HMS Surprise is painted at this point as a ship that's kind of out of her age. It's low on the technology, and now you have the F-22 Raptor coming after you. It's coming up behind you in the fog. So that's incredible. It also does an incredible job of showing what ship's life was like on those boats at that time. It was a floating city. All you had was each other, and order, superstition, everything that occurs in that movie, I would say is, if you want to call it lore accurate for the time, it is more than worth a watch, and it's more than worth the love and respect that went into that movie.
I think if you watch it on the link that I sent you, as long as it stays up, I don't know. It's pretty wild. How they got that uploaded, number one, is beyond me.
It's been a month.
Because I upload something that has like 6 seconds of a clip, and it's like, block, insta block. It's like, oh my gosh. So, I mean, good on them.
We'll get copyrighted for the 5 seconds we showed.
Yeah, I think like this could be going down just because I showed too much. But yeah, I think after you watch it, you'll probably want to invest in seeing more. The behind the scenes is really cool. They showed the building of the ship, how they put it together, about the storms, and how this was more of a passion project for, like King said earlier, for the studios than just seeing where it went. If they had 20 books, man, dude, the story, they could have done like a whole series. But it's crazy how, I believe someone said it in the chat, Master and Commander came out the same year or the same time as Lord of the Rings. So the promotion was bad, the timing was bad, everything was bad because everybody went to see Lord of the Rings over Master and Commander, which is rightfully so. If they probably had stuck it somewhere where there wasn't really. Oh, wait, hold on, let's pull out a last thing. It was 2003, and I'll finish up on the super chats. 2003 movies, right? What came out in list of films in 2003?
Return of the King was the one that sunk.
Return of the King. Pirates of the Caribbean was out too.
I'd take Master and Commander over Pirates of the Caribbean any day.
The top film, the highest grossing films of 2003. Anybody want to guess what number one is without looking?
Return of the King.
Nope.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Is it Pirates
Finding Nemo?
Such a great film. I'm sorry. I love Finding Nemo.
I mean, think about just those 4 or 5 movies we've named: Master Commander, Return of the King, Finding Nemo, Pirates of the Caribbean, and The Last Samurai as well came out that year.
Oh, I love The Last Samurai.
Those are 5 incredible movies.
Oh wow! Hold on, let me see if I can get
Master
like the
Commander
top
came out
50.
November 14th, and Return of the King came out on December 16th.
Yeah, all right. Here, I'll pull this up. Man, how far have we fallen in cinema, man?
Those were
Like,
such great films, dude.
Finding Nemo, I watched. Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black. It's the first Pirates of the Caribbean.
That was the
Incredible, right?
best one in my
Yeah, it
X2,
was the best one.
The Matrix
Terminator.
Reloaded, The Return of the
Great film.
King, Bruce
Great film.
Almighty,
great film.
X2. Did I
I don't
watch
know what
that?
that is. Is that an X-Men film?
Yeah, X-Men 2.
Oh, Elf.
Yeah,
Elf
Elf.
is in there.
Oh, that made a bunch of money.
Terminator
Bad Boys
3.
2.
Wait,
that was
where's
a good
Master and
one.
Commander at?
Way down.
Right
No,
there, number
here it is
33.
right here. Number
Yeah.
33.
It did worse than Catch Me If You Can. I love that movie, but worse than Daddy Daycare.
Well,
really?
So
Oh, a lot of movies came out that year.
it came out later in the year, so it
Yeah.
probably moved back up. But yeah, like The Cat in the Hat, Charlie's Angels, Catch Me If You Can was fantastic
Yep.
movie.
Yeah.
Daredevil.
American
Italian
Wedding
Job.
was hilarious.
Ben Affleck as Daredevil. Yeah.
SWAT.
How did
Jeez.
SWAT do better?
Too
That
Fast, Too Furious.
That original Hulk was good with Eric Bana. That was a good one.
Anger Management. That was a great movie.
Pretty wild, man. But yeah,
Wow.
I mean, to compete with if they released a Pirates of the Caribbean movie and a Master, it's like that's not good. There's The Last Samurai right there.
Master and Commander and Last Samurai should have been top 10.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like people probably just took their kids to see Pirates of the Caribbean, and you're not going to take your kids to see Master and Commander.
Yeah. Gangs
You
of
know?
New York was 67th? That hurts.
Secondhand Lions.
Oh, it's a great one. Great film.
But
That's
look at all
that's
the,
your dad's
not
top
for
5
nothing-
movies.
Not for Malibu's Most Wanted. Come on, that should be top
Oh,
5.
The Pianist? Great film.
Secondhand Lions is in your dad's top 5 movies.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see if it moved up in like 04 because it.
So I forget
Came
who
out
it
at the end of the
was.
year.
Babbles
Yeah.
had a really good point in the chat.
Boomy just said Gangs of
Did
New
Did you
York
say
is trash.
Babbles?
I said I did. I meant Blabs.
Not the real Blabs.
Any chance for an episode on John Paul Jones? That's a really good
Yes,
question.
we should. We should. I actually, Master and Commander does not show up at all on the 04. So yeah, it
Wow.
did. It did that poorly in the theater.
81 million in the U.S.
I guess
Crazy,
it's
man.
kind of a cult classic-y kind of thing. I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, it
like,
definitely is.
Here's 04, Shrek 2, Spider-Man 2,
Spider-Man 2.
The
Passion.
Passion of the Christ, Harry Potter, The Incredible. Look at these movies, dude. We had such great films. back in the
National
day.
Treasure. Yeah.
Born
Gross.
Supremacy, the Will Smith, the Shark Tale, Polar
Wow.
Express, National Treasure, iRobot, another Will Smith, Lord
I
of the
loved
Rings,
Troy, by the way.
Dodgeball.
I loved that movie. A lot of people make fun of it, but I love
Yeah,
that movie.
Dodgeball is great. Oh my gosh, Ocean's 12.
Yeah.
Along Came Polly, I thought was hilarious.
Anchorman.
Anchorman,
Princess
Such a
Diaries
good one.
too.
Alien vs Predator, nah.
Hey, Notebook's
Man on
great film.
Fire. Man
like
on Fire is
AVP.
one of the best.
That was a great
Man,
movie.
dude, Denzel Washington is unbeaten.
But yeah, I mean,
White chicks.
Hidalgo.
Oh, Hidalgo. If you haven't
Miracle.
seen that movie, Miracle and Hidalgo. Incredible.
man, the Chronicles of Riddick, dude.
Hey, The
One of-
Butterfly
one of-
Effect was a really good movie too. I know it's
I
Ashton
love the
Kutcher,
Riddick
but
films.
King Arthur.
yeah.
Good movie.
Blade Trinity, yeah. it wasn't the
Napoleon
best one.
Dynamite.
Wow.
I know everybody loved You
Ooh.
Got Served.
Sky Captain. That was.
I
If you
haven't-
haven't
I love
seen
that
You Got
movie.
Served, you better watch You Got
I have
Served.
not seen that movie yet.
It's a dance off, man.
The
Come on.
Punisher.
Alexander.
I love the original Punisher, man. That movie
That's
was
not the original.
awesome.
That's Thomas
Yeah.
Zane version. That's not the
Oh.
original. Dolph Lundgren is the original Punisher movie.
Really?
Yeah. Look it
Dolph
up.
Lundgren? I have to watch that.
Yeah, don't watch it. It's horrible.
Okay.
Ooh, around
Ooh,
the
The
world.
Aviator.
The Aviator. Yeah.
Aviator was
Agent
good.
Cody Banks 2, Destination London. I remember those commercials.
Aviator was
The
great.
Seed of Chucky, when two dolls had sex on a theater or
Euro
in a
Trip.
movie.
Man, that was another
That
one.
was a terrible movie.
Soul
And then-
Plane.
I'll tell you what's so funny about this.
Soul Plane.
Paul Bettany goes
Oh,
from
there's
doing
Master and Commander fell
yeah,
because
Paul
the next year.
Paul Bettany goes from doing Master Commander to doing Wimbledon. which is a little bit further up on that
Hey,
list.
Shaun of the Dead was an incredible movie. Okay.
All I'm saying is, like, was there a good movie that came out last year?
Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, Mario Brothers was okay.
How crazy is that? Right?
All Quiet on the Western Front.
Wasn't that 2 years ago?
I have no idea. Maybe.
Man, I think if they had waited a year to release it after all the Pirates of the Caribbean hype,
Yeah.
and everyone's like into that stuff, if they're like, here's another one that's a little different, it's a little more realistic.
Oh, Gojira.
It might have done better. It might have done better. But here we are today talking about it, and loving this film. And I'm so glad that people like, Wicked, who's never seen it before, has been introduced to this movie. And I'm glad she enjoyed it.
Me too.
I think we need more realistic historic movies recounting of
did you
events,
hear
even though this isn't.
That's an excellent point, but did you hear like Matt Damon? Oh, Godzilla. Yeah, Godzilla was excellent. Did you hear what Matt Damon said about why we're not getting like a bunch of like low budget, well written films, things like that? He was on a podcast and he was talking about it. He goes like the it's all changed because it costs so much to market and there's no money in it anymore. Mm-hmm. So it's easier to just make these cookie cutter films from these big blockbuster places that, because they can eat it up if it doesn't make the film, make the money. And it was really sad to hear it because he's like, we just don't do this anymore.
Yeah.
It was Hot Ones. Yeah, that's right. Westward Smile. And you just kind of listen to him talk about like why there's not good storytelling in films anymore. And he's just like, yeah, well, here's why. It all comes down to money and theaters and all this stuff. And you're just like, it's so sad, but it's true. It's like, it's sad, but it's true.
Well, hey, Jay, somebody's got to do it, right? We can tell good stories.
Yes. And if you, there's actually I've got a little teaser trailer of a good story that's coming out this year.
Open fire!
So that's it. You got to see the Jolly Roger. That's going to be on. We might have those out on shirts and hats and stuff really soon to help cover cost of the production of what we're doing in this trilogy for the Daughter's Revenge pirate graphic novel. It'll be available for sale near the end of the year, around fall. There is so much that every time we like get close to like, hey, let's do this, me and X-Wing are like, let's add this feature. Like, we just want to do it big, man. Like, we're talking like we've even talked about trading cards, action figures, model ships. We've got real swords to sell, coins that are going to come with your book. I've got a coin right here that was made by his brother. And like, it's just, we can't tell you how excited we are for this project. It is, you might have noticed a little crown of thorns around the skull's head. So like, we might even do a competition for like concept art, stuff like that. Like, we just want to do it like big. So like, and not hold anything back.
We're stretching ourselves thin, but that's because I want this project. If I were to be a part of it, at least, backing it and being a part of it, I want everything. Like I want the stuff.
Yeah.
This is my Star Wars. I don't know.
It's my Indiana Jones. So
Yep.
we'll bribe Wicked on her streams to get spoilers. Hey,
Don't do that.
I know nothing.
Don't do that.
she knows how to keep a secret. So at least I think. But anyway, for the 200 plus people that hung out with us, as we talked about Master and Commander, anybody else? Final word as we end. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us. Wicked, Virtue, X-Wing, King's Advisors, Lulu Blue is dropping links to all their channels in the chat. They're excellent. And I know you guys watch us as we do our Sea of Thieves streams. NDAJ. Yeah, these are just little things. We still have a long way to go. So we are just now mapping out all the details and stuff. But we're just going to keep you guys excited till the day we launch it. So, but that's it, guys. I hope you have a great, great Monday. Another edition of the Pirate Patches and Rum podcast. And we'll see you in a few weeks.
I think you missed a couple super chats.
I did? Man, I was doing my whole...
I was about to scream, now get to work.
Yeah. Sorry. Captain Wreck for 2. The Surprise Rose was also an interceptor in Pirates of the Caribbean 1. Oh, it was? I did not know that. My bad for missing the super chats. Wicked Steel for 5. I spent a couple of months sailing on a replica of the HMS Bounty from Fall River, Mass to Nova Scotia, Canada in the early 90s.
That's incredible.
How cool is that?
Yeah, a couple months.
Wow. Captain Rex says painkillers hidden when I'm better, Jay. If you do another vid on this film or books, I'm in any time for the panel. Love you, Scurvy Dogs. Man, I gave you an assignment, bro. One thing at a time. But on a serious note, feel better, brother. Feel better. And that's it, man. We are done. We're out of here. We'll see you in a few weeks. And
now get to work.
Thank you for being a first mate and listening to the Patches and Rum podcast. Now get back to your station or I'll send you to Davy Jones' locker.